At one point, we suggested that Solanke was better than Mitrovic. We also said that they're never going to catch us. And we also thought that they were maybe just a bit bitter when they said that Scott Parker will leave you frustrated. We also said that Marco Silva might get found out in the top flight. But we play Fulham on April Fool's Day, so April Fools.
Yeah, well played, well played. We'll leave it at that, shall we?
Turns out we were wrong, Tom.
Yeah. Throw enough something at the wall, maybe something could stick at some point, but right now, I think they're the ones laughing, mate.
Welcome to the Back of the Net Matchday Preview. This is the home of AFC Bournemouth content. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
And yes, Saturday, Cherries face the Cottagers at Dean Court. And look, we've had our run-ins online over the last season and a bit, but now that the dust has settled, we might as well pay respect to the Cottagers for what has been a fantastic season for them, eh?
Yeah, very, very impressive. I think most people, when you do them prediction videos and stuff, probably had us too. I think because Forest spent money and stuff, obviously come up with us, but I remember watching a lot before the season and most people were saying Bournemouth and Fulham, myself included, thinking they'll be scrapping. Fair play to them. Mitrovic, which I'm sure we'll go on to, he's taking it to that next level like he did in the Championship, whereas we haven't managed to do that as much. And yeah, Marco Silva, I wasn't sure when they brought him in. I think sometimes you look at kind of Hull and Everton and what people, did they really work? Is he that good? But yeah, he's shown he's a top coach, and their recruitment's been excellent. And yeah, they thoroughly deserve to be where they are, and they're even knocking on Europe and were unlucky not to get even further in the Cup. So yeah, they've had an amazing season, mate. And looks like they're doing okay without Scotty P, doesn't it?
So what is the secret to their success, and where do their ambitions lie? Are they a one-man team? What do they think about us? In this preview, we're going to find out. There's a bumper lot of content on the way in this show, but also over the weekend, Tom.
Yeah, we got after a nice little breather, international break. Now we've got 2 games very, very quickly. So yeah, I guess after this it will start with the old fan cams after the game, mate, on Saturday.
I love the raw reaction, raw opinion, especially from you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I enjoy it. And obviously then the vlog will come out hopefully on the Sunday, mate. You know, see how quick you get to that. And then yeah, Monday night we're gonna have to do some sort of
hybrid.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to react with like our second look show on the Fulham game, but then also go into the preview for the Brighton game, and then once again it all starts again with fan cams and reaction to that game. So
and plus we go to London on Monday as well.
We are indeed.
How are we going to fit it all in, mate?
We'll find a way, mate.
We'll find a way. For that reason, why not like and subscribe? We truly appreciate it. So yeah, playing 2 games at home back to back. It's like the good old days, isn't it, mate?
Love it.
It's like the Ensley League. It's like the N-Power League. It's like whatever it was called, the Sky Bet League.
Yeah,
it's nice to have them.
Yeah, I love a Saturday, Tuesday, particularly when they're both at home as well. You think, and it can work both ways. You get a positive result, you go right, we've got another game, kick on, momentum. If it doesn't go your way, you go right, we can react straight away and try and forget that game. So yeah, I think it's after a little break, nice to have a couple back to back, and we look like the squad's coming together all right. So it's not a bad time to have a double header, mate.
Yeah, not a bad time. So who remembers our last meeting with them? I do. Here's what happened. Poor mark in there. So yeah, 2-2 at Craven Cottage, and yet again, mate, another very early Dom Solanke goal.
Yeah.
You must be sick of that guy.
Yeah, he's got a bloody good record against Fulham, hasn't he? Which I'm sure we'll go into, but the fact that his goal record hasn't been great this season, but against Fulham, it always seems to be good, as does Mitrovic's against us, but fortunately that can't happen this weekend. It was a good game. I remember at the time thinking it was a decent point for us. I think looking back, probably thought, because their goal was a penalty as well, we could have actually won that game. Thought we'd done all right. And I actually, ironically, remember us singing na 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 na, the Gary O'Neill chart that day. But it was a good away performance from us, and probably a fair result overall. And they got that penalty, didn't they, with a bit of cleverness, I suppose, from Mitrovic and a bit of naivety from Lerma at the time. But good game, and I always enjoy it at Craven Cottage. Got a decent record there.
Yeah, so after 10 games, they were in 10th place with 12 points. Since then, after 27 games, Marco Silva's side, well, they've improved by 1 place, but look, they are easily safe. 39 points, 9th in the league. 10 places and 15 points better off than AFC Bournemouth. And in that game, we know that Dom scored first, Diop then equalised with a header, which I think that Neto, maybe his positioning wasn't particularly great. But we need to talk about Neto, mate, because he signed a new deal with the Cherries.
Yeah, 3-year deal, which I'm surprised about because it's a long deal. I know goalkeepers can go on that bit longer, I guess. It's more the fact that I think, one, his age, but also his wages will be bloody high. I mean, we got him from... It's a free transfer, so there's no transfer fee, which always helps bump up someone's wage. But yeah, I think at Barca he was on over £100 a week, so we'll be paying him a fair whack. Good keeper with experience, which always helps. But, pleased for Neto, because the fact of the matter is, don't want to dampen the mood too much, but we could be in the Championship, and he's obviously agreed that if that happens, he still wants to be with us and obviously enjoyed his time here. Might be one that in the future he takes up a coaching role here. He obviously seems like he wants to end his career in Bournemouth, so it's a good sign, mate. We've got to take it as a positive. But yeah, on that day, I think, one of them there's been a few that you think maybe could do better without it being a glaring error.
But his shot stopping stats are second to none, and his distribution's good as well. So yeah, we are chuffed to have him as a permanent AFC Bournemouth player. Do you remember that game where Fredericks was running down the right side and Tim Ream grabbed his arm, and it looked like he was taking it to the byline, crossing it, and then it went to VAR. How was that not a pen? I was watching the highlights earlier, but then Lerma, your man, he put us back in front, 2-1, and then, like you say, hero turned villain for bringing down Mitrovic. But then we could have won it, because do you remember Adam Smith had a header after a point-blank range.
Oh, yeah, Leno. Superb.
Great save. But I tell you what, always entertaining games.
Yeah, I thought we'd done all right that day. Yeah, definitely. I think a point was probably fair, but I remember coming out of that game thinking I was happy with the performance, for sure.
Now, since that game in October, Fulham on their travels, they beat Leeds United 3-2, they beat Crystal Palace 3-0, they beat Leicester City and Brighton 1-0. They drew a game 0-0 against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They lost to Man City, to Newcastle. They also had a blip at Brentford. I'm just looking at the results, mate, and to me, they feel like they're the results that Bournemouth should get but don't get.
Yeah, maybe.
Am I right? Am I wrong?
Maybe they're probably, sounds pretty obvious, but they're just a little bit more clinical in both boxes, I think. They defend better, a bit more organised, and they've got more goals in them. They've got a goal machine up front in Alexander Mitrovic, who's probably slightly better than Dom Solanke. And there's the only one that I think is caveat, which I think Fulham fans would agree with, is that Brighton one. I remember seeing that Brighton batter them, but equally they hang on.
Their average position, by the way, was all in their own half against Brighton.
Yeah, they hung on, but then what they did is they hung on and waited for a moment and scored, and they are capable of doing that. I think you see that from their results. They're happy to have a 3-2 game and it be really end to end, but equally then grind out a 1-0. Very well drilled side. Seen them a few times and just thought he's got them in a real system. They all know what their job is, what their role is, and they're all playing for the gaffer and his instructions. So yeah, fair play to them. It doesn't surprise me when I watch them where they are in the league.
So let's check out their results from the turn of the year then. And like I said, they're the sort of results that I feel as though Bournemouth should be getting, but haven't got at times. So look, they won away at Leicester City. We've got them coming up soon as well. In the FA Cup, 2-0 against Hull. That was a great result against Chelsea for them. I think they've picked up 4 points from them this season, which is something that obviously they're really proud of. Losing at Newcastle, losing against Spurs as well. Then in the FA Cup, obviously Sunderland took them to a replay, but they won, of course, as we know, drawing against Chelsea again. But look at this, 2-0 against Forest, 1-0 against Fulham, 2-0 against Leeds in the Cup. So Brentford's maybe the blip there. Arsenal, you kind of expect it. Man United in the Cup, you kind of expect it. But they're a side that have had a really good season. And is top 10 where they're aiming for, do you think?
Oh yeah, I think now, because of the fact that they're safe, and that would have been the priority at the start of the season, they'll look to pick up a bit of momentum and try and sneak into one of them Europe places, Conference League or whatever. But whatever happens now, it's mad to think. Every game's a cup final for us. We come up with them and they can stop the season now and be happy. Really impressive. I think that Arsenal one, like you say, I remember everyone going on about how big a result that was for Arsenal, because people thought that could be a banana skin away at Fulham, and that just shows how great Fulham have been, as I say, in all areas really. But yeah, they've had a great season, and I think the thing that's been encouraging, like I say, maybe it is because of that Europe kind of, could they do it, is they haven't really been on the beach. I feel like they're still, everything's been going well for them. So yeah, it's going to be a really difficult game, mate. But equally, because of things I'm sure we'll get onto when we talk about team news, we've got to be looking to win this one.
You're giving me some hope.
We've got to win this game.
Really?
Got to win this game.
What you say? It's unacceptable if we lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously you want the performance stuff, but we've got, this is no disrespect to Fulham, by the way, we've got Fulham and then Brighton, obviously these back-to-back 2 home games. You'll get no better chance to play Fulham, as we'll go on to with the team news. Brighton are a little bit ahead, I think, and also, as I say, because of the team selection they can put out compared to Fulham. We've got to win at least one of them, and you've got to look at Fulham because of the players they're missing as the more winnable. If we don't beat Fulham and then we go and beat Brighton, fine. Yeah. But I think Fulham's definitely the more winnable, and that's, as I say, no disrespect to Fulham whatsoever. But I think we got to try. I mean, I'd probably take 3 if I'm honest, but I think we've got to be looking for 4 out of these 2 really. Certainly got to win one of them, and I think Fulham's the more winnable one, mate. So yeah, massive game on Saturday, massive.
Right, let's check out the form table.
We have to.
Yeah, so there they are, sat in 10th, mate. We're not far behind in 15th, but
probably helps they played Man U and Arsenal the last couple.
Yeah, exactly, it does. And what's quite interesting is that from the last 4 league games, they picked up 4 points, although the XG actually suggests it was an overachievement, as only in the game against Wolves did they have a higher value, an XG value. And like you said, bit of a smash and grab against Brighton. How do we get at them, mate?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult because I think we've shown lately, particularly in that Liverpool game, that in transitions and with pace, we can get in behind teams, but then we saw quickly, in my opinion, against Villa, that when you have centre-halves that are a little bit, and then you've got a team that are a bit more disciplined than Liverpool would be, where it's kind of they're happy to just take the game to you and they're going to get caught now and again. We struggle to unlock teams, so yeah, and we're not going to have the ball, we never have the ball, so we are going to have to try and use that pace down the sides. I think we're going to have to hope that we can draw their fullbacks on and try and catch them. Really, with that pace, I think that's key, and keep having that base, that solid base of without Mitrovic, kind of saying no, you know what, we can cause you just as many problems as you can us. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one because of the players they've got missing. But we've got to look at the fact that our record against them, home and away, is bloody good, mate. It is really good. We've got a good record against Fulham.
It's almost like the script. There isn't a script. This is unscripted.
Oh, you're doing head to head.
Head to head, of course, and we did lose against them in 2019 at home. That was a sultry 1-0 defeat.
That was Scott Parker, yeah.
Mate, good memory.
Yeah, Mitrovic 1-0. It's always Mitrovic, but we've had bloody good results there. Obviously, we all think of the 5-1 in the Championship, but that 3-0 as well, Brooksy played really well at that game. Obviously, it's a different Fulham side and a different Bournemouth side completely, but as I say, I can't remember the last defeat, I don't know if you've got it, apart from that Parker one. I don't think we've had one.
It was back in 1994, mate.
So. See, I was 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Long time ago.
Yeah, we've got a good record, mate.
What was our last game against Aberdeen Court? You can remember this.
Oh, yeah, I can. That penalty.
Who scored?
Dom Solanke.
Who scored for them?
Mitrovic.
But who's playing in this one?
Dom Solanke.
Who's not playing?
Mitrovic. Who gave away the penalty? Harry Wilson. Who might come in for Willian? Harry Wilson. No. I just remember Harry Wilson giving away a penalty and Dom Solanke. It was the last kick of the game, wasn't it? Brilliant.
Are they a one-man team?
No, I think that's gone a little bit too far. I think...
But do they function as well without him?
Of course not, but I think, you look at that with a lot of teams, you probably say a similar thing with Brentford, maybe, and Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at teams, maybe like your Villas and your Brightons, and you think they've got a bit more about them because they haven't got a main focal point. But it's one of them things. I mean, virtually every team would have that to a degree. Would Tottenham function as well without Harry Kane? Do you know what I mean? Yes, they're not going to be as good because Mitrovic is a bloody good footballer, and it would change the way you play, I'm sure, because you haven't got that focal point. Just like it would change the way we saw when Dom was missing for a bit, that when we had Keith Moore up there, we couldn't...
If Dom had the numbers, then they would be saying the same thing, wouldn't they?
Of course, but we still function better when he's there. I know a lot of people were saying, especially with Kiefer scoring on international duty, maybe we should get Kiefer in. Well, I remember when we had Kiefer up front in the zone and we don't put cross in the box and it didn't work. I think they're certainly weaker without Mitrovic, but I think it would be a little bit too harsh on Fulham to say it's all because of Mitrovic. I think they've got good players all around the pitch. Probably don't even think he's been their best player this season. I actually think Palhinha in midfield has been their best player. I think they're weaker without him, but they're not a one-man team.
Should he be suspended though? I mean, what happened at Old Trafford? I mean, there's nothing, was it?
I mean, he should definitely be suspended for this one. I think the talk of kind of 6-month ban and stuff is a little bit over the top. They would just be making a point of the Mitrovic one, which I think is a bit harsh. And I've had this little, I don't know if people agree, I've had this kind of weird little theory on it, that if he's not a big Serbian, he doesn't have as much talk. Because, people are going, how intimidating he looks. But that's because he's Mitrovic. He's a big Serbian shithouse. That's why there's talk on it. Because he just looks intimidating. Yeah. And if that's Harry Wilson, who goes over and does the exact same thing, he doesn't look as intimidating. No. And I think that's a little bit harsh on Mitrovic. But, yeah, he reacts differently. I think their main point... I mean, they won't have Marco Silva in the dugout, will they? Because he got sent off.
No. And of course, Willian as well.
And Willian obviously got sent off in the build-up to that. But I think the thing that must be difficult is Marco Silva can't say too much because he had already been sent off as well. So, yeah. But I think...
Was he sent off in the closing
He got
stages?
sent off before Mitrovic, I think.
Yeah, no, against us.
Yeah, he might have been, yeah.
Was he... Because he was certainly kicking off on the touchline.
He has got a bit about him. He has a bit of a history in that.
If you're a Fulham fan and you're seeing that, don't you want to see that sometimes? Like a little bit of bite from the
bench. To a degree. And I think there were previous things with that particular referee that I think had gone against Fulham, so there was a bit of historical stuff there. That's why Marco Silva was so annoyed. But it was a shame for them because they had the game in the palm of their hand, no pun intended, when Willian handballed it, and they just threw it away because of Mitrovic's actions, really. So they'll be disappointed with that, but I'm sure he's made up for it in other ways in the past, to be fair to him. But from our perspective, I was watching it thinking, get in!
Yeah.
What an opportunity. But we have got to be... we have got to be mindful that just because they've lost two good footballers doesn't mean it's a given. They're still a good team.
And there are going to be other people coming in who want to cement a place in the side. So they're going to be doing everything they can to get one over us and to be playing next week for the Cottagers. So that's what we think about them. What do they think about us? We had a look at YouTube and we had a gander.
Well, last season was very different for you, and obviously the start of the season because you were under a manager who was very defensive and not very attacking. Obviously, as you discussed at the beginning of this. But I think I've watched some of your previous games and highlights. I think you're a very attacking team. As I said earlier, you've got Dominic Solanke, who is what I would describe as our Mitrovic, and Philip Bingham and stuff like that. You've got attack, but I think where it lets you down is I see you give them a lot of space in the final third.
I watched the Liverpool game, and first half, Bournemouth were brilliant on the counter-attack. It didn't look like they were fighting for survival, and got forward, and the goal was brilliant. I'm sure it was Billing, I think. And it could have he had a second chance as well. It was an absolute sitter that was missed. Could have gone 2-0 up. I remember that. And, Bournemouth looked a really good side, and I sort of thought about this game, and I thought, okay, it is a little bit worrying because that Atara, I think it's Atara on the wing. Yeah. He looks a very good player and a very good signing. And then, a performance like that gets Liverpool, you're up for it. It was the same with us on the first day. You're always bang up for games against teams like that. They're struggling. Their confidence isn't great. They're there for the taking. Villa away, as you said earlier, a different team under Emery. We've not played them yet. We've got them at the end of April. But it's one of those things you can go and it can go either way. And looking at the stats there, 3.66 XG. sort of shows the sort of chances that they had. One of those things, it could just be a blip, because I looked at Bournemouth's results and, you've got some decent results against the teams that you need to get decent results against. So, yeah, it's unpredictable, as you say. Don't know what way it's going to go. Likely to be a draw. But I think my main thing to take away from Bournemouth is, as you said, how great it is to see David Brooks back out on that pitch. I think that's absolutely fantastic from any football fan's point of view. So, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, to make sure you check out the channels that have been featured there. Links are all in the description below. Right, team news. Happy Friday. It is Friday. Gary O'Neill's had his press conference. Now, we know that Zabani was going to play for Ukraine, but didn't.
Yeah, he went back, didn't he, to Bournemouth to... I think...
So he might be...
He might be a bit... I think
contention, because he was close at the time, I thought.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit too soon. It'd be interesting to see, but... I think the fact of him getting called up, I think a lot of it was the fact that Ukraine were playing in England anyway. So he didn't have to travel anywhere. And I think they wanted to just kind of see what he was like. And I think Ukraine kind of went, we're not going to use him. He's not quite there yet. So he might as well go back to Bournemouth and work on his kind of getting back to fitness. So I think it might become a little bit too soon for him, but positive that he's getting there. Yeah. Similarly with Tavernier, he might be a little bit fat. He could be in the squad in my opinion. Yeah. But again, we saw in the Wolves game where he ended up getting the winner, but he got injured again. He'd just come back, so I think they'll be mindful of rushing him back. Junior won't be back.
Traore will be fitter than what he was. There are players that
he
come
played
back.
in both games, didn't he, for Ivory Coast?
Yeah, that's right.
Did you notice, by the way, I just wanted to say that I loved seeing that Ivory Coast had a front three. I think Haller led the line, the one that was at West Ham. Yeah. And then they had Gradle and Traore either side. Love that. And then Dango got a goal.
Yeah.
Really pleased for him. And we keep saying, don't we, how good he's been, but he needs that goal.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't for us, but that's big. That he
and
got
also
a goal.
Semenyo as well.
Semenyo on his debut, I think it was, come off the bench and scored. Kiefer Moore scored.
I know. And Ryan
Assist.
Christie was playing for Scotland in their 2-0 win. What happened there?
And they were. I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about how Scotland, played really well and beat Spain, and they were talking about how vital Christie is to them. And I was thinking, he struggles to get on our bench now. I mean, we've got a good squad. This is what I keep saying. But really pleased with him. I think we had a successful international break, mate.
Yeah, and really, for Phil Bill, highs and lows.
Yeah, I felt for him. I mean, listen, with tongue in cheek, but it wasn't his fault. But he come on when they were 2-0 up against Kazakhstan and they lost 3-2. And maybe we apologise, any Danish fans, because maybe we sprinkled a bit of Bournemouth in them there, throwing away a 2-goal lead. But pleased for him to get some minutes for Denmark. Travers went away, don't think he got any minutes. But a few of the boys went away and got some minutes. So yeah, sounds all pleasing in that sense, mate. And hopefully they'll come back fit and we're getting players back. I just got a feeling though there'll be one. We always have it. There'll be one key player missing. Someone will be out.
Is it like someone will be out for some reason, the flu or something?
Yeah, but you got to remember. I mean, it sounds like he'd be all right, but you got to remember that Lerma did pull out of Colombia, and he's had ongoing little issues. So I'm hoping that's nothing too significant because I just think we function better, obviously, when he's in there. But with Lewis back, Rothwell playing well.
Yeah,
we have got some options in there now, mate.
So, on to Fulham, and since we last met in the January transfer window, they signed 3 players. Sasa Lukic from Torino for $8 million. Shane Duffy from Brighton, that was an undisclosed fee. And also Suarez from Arsenal as well.
Yeah, I think they were...
On loan, is that right?
Yeah, I think obviously he's not playing for Arsenal, and I think it made sense for them to just, with the squad, and obviously at that point they were going well in the Cups as well. And I think he's kind of a safe, probably similar to, he's probably a little bit better, but similar to when we kind of got Fredericks in, kind of bump the squad up, you can rely on them, got that Premier League experience. I think Lukic is one that will end up being a really good player for him. And I think, Duffy as well, strengthen the squad, but they haven't come in and taken the shirt straight away.
No, I think he's going to be out anyway through injuries. Well,
Duffy's still out.
Yeah, and also Kazawa and also Cabano as well. So the player to watch for Fulham, if you had to name one, I mean, I suppose it would be Mitrovic.
Yeah.
You could name Willian if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But who's are you going for? Is there a couple of names you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious one is Palhinha that I briefly mentioned earlier, just because he's been sensational in midfield for him. I'd
good player.
I'd even make a case. I was trying to think of it, obviously a little bit early, so we'll wait till the season ends. But when, as everyone will do, you do your team of the season, he'll be in a lot. He'll be in a lot. I think he's been unbelievable. And then, he's starting for Portugal now. That's no mean feat. Probably ahead of people like Ruben Neves and that for Portugal. Really impressive. He's been great. I remember when he got him, a few kind of more people with a bit more expertise, because I didn't know much about him at all, was saying how have Fulham got him, and I can see why they're saying that now. But got to make a case for the Solomon, Mala Solomon, who's only a young lad.
Yeah.
But he's come in at the team because of his age. But he's been really impressive from off the bench and when he started. And he's got a chance now with Willian out to kind of grab that spot potentially. But he's one for the future for him that I know they're looking at. So yeah, he's probably one I'd say we've got to watch out for because he's probably a little bit less known, but he looks like a player, mate.
The referee is Peter Banks.
You always do this, I'll never give a shit.
He was the ref for our home game against Aston Villa back in August. Yeah.
Parker Ball.
Parker Ball, great days. So yeah, we've got him in charge, but we're not worried about that. We are worried about the teams. Tom's going to do them now. Okay then, let's start with AFCB. Here they are, and it's a 4-3-3. I mean,
yeah,
it's not overly surprising what you've done there, but let's talk through it.
Well, we're going to go for the new contract man. Obviously, Neto will definitely be in goal, I would have thought, and we're wearing the armband, I assume, as well. So, yeah, Neto stays in goal. I think the back four is going to become interesting lately, coming up, because, you know, what's going to happen with Zamora? Is Zabani, as you previously mentioned, is he going to get back in? But for the moment, I think we're going to stick with kind of what we've done lately. I think Smith will stay in at right back. I think Stevens, you can't really drop him, so I think he'll be in there with Sinetti, who I think's been superb for us. And I think Lloyd Kelly will stay in at left back. I know we weren't great against Villa, but you know the previous game against Liverpool, I think that back four is doing all right at the moment. So I don't think you need to rush kind of your Zabanis, and you know remains to be seen with Zamora. So I think we'll stick with that at the four, mate. Midfield three, obviously, as I mentioned, we're not sure about Lerma 100%. You never know, but if he's fit, he plays. And then I think Rothwell and Bill on either side. Like I say, I'm hoping Traore will be knocking on the door a little bit more, and Lewis is back. But I was surprised when he come off against Villa. I think Rothwell's looked good. Yeah. Gives us a bit of balance there. And Billen, you know, you've got a goal threat there. So I think that'll be the three. And Billen will be the one trying to get closer to Dom up top, who, yes, will be leading the line for me. And I think we'll stick with Ouattara, definitely. Yeah. Like right hand side. The left hand side, you're never as sure, especially if you're not saying Zamora, you're thinking, will Anthony play? Yeah. I think you could talk about a Semenyo, you could talk about Tavernier, but I think Semenyo's been away. Tavernier has been out, not sure how close he is. Traore, another one that could play from that side, has been away, and I just think Anthony's been with the group and is doing all right. So I think that'll be the front three. But there's a few places that are up for contention now, which is all good. Even Brooksy's available, mate, and Christie had a good time away. So yeah, some good options in there. But I'd be happy if I saw that one. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay, so Fulham 4-2-3-1.
Yes.
Okay, talk me through it.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit more 4-2-3-1 than 4-3-3 that we are, because I think there's someone that's clearly going to be a little bit higher up than the other two in midfield. Leno, who I think's another one that I think's one of the signs of the season. I think he's gone under the radar. And he's a top goalkeeper, and he's been brilliant for him. He'll be in nets. Probably Tete at right back, I would have thought. Diop and Ream, as we've mentioned in this video already, be the centre halves. And another one that I think is probably one of the best left backs in the league, in my opinion, Anthony Robinson, America left back. I just think he's one that maybe because he's left back gets overlooked, but I really rate him. So he could be another one that one to watch. I mean, you don't tend to say that about defenders, but I just think he's a really good left back. Two that are a little bit more, bit deeper in that midfield area would be Harrison Reed, who might get a boo if we remember that he's a scummer. Yep. And Polinia that I've spoken enough about will be the two to sit in, because Andres Pereira, ex-Man United, will be a little bit more advanced than them two. He's been doing really well for a lot of people in fantasy football. Yeah. He was very cheap at the start of the season. He's been very consistent for them. The wide area is a little bit more up for contention now, because obviously William would normally play. I'm going to go for Bobby Reed on the right hand side. There is a case for Harry Wilson, but I'm quite happy for him to warm up and get a boo. Yeah. But I think he's been away. He's been away. I'm not sure if he's not really been brilliant for him. I know he's had injuries, but again, like he was for us, he seems like he's great in the champ, but is he good enough for the Prem? I'm not sure. I think he'll be on the bench. I think they'll go Bobby Reed and, as we mentioned, Solomon on the other side, and I think they'll go Carlos Vinicius up top, just to give him his opportunity. If you're not going to play him now when Mitrovic is out, he's probably thinking. And to be fair to him, I remember watching a few games. I can't remember the specific game, but when Mitrovic was out and he come in for a game, or for a few games, and I thought he led the line all right. I mean, he's not Mitrovic, but it gives him a focal point, and he'll be looking to take his opportunity, mate. So still a good side, as we keep saying. Yeah, they're missing a few key players, but it's still a really good side. It really is. I think we need to look at maybe getting Dom and Ouattara on Ream, because Ream is ageing. Bloody good centre half, by the way, but he hasn't got the legs of Diop. So if we can stretch him a little bit, try and use our pace in that way. But yeah, it's a good side.
Right, so Fulham fans, Just going to want to tell you something. Last time Tom predicted the teams, it was Bournemouth v Aston Villa, Villa Park. We lost it. But he got 22 out of 22.
I did, actually.
But you would happily get those wrong if it means that we get a result right against Fulham, because
fair.
we need it. Fulham fans, do you agree with that team lineup? If you don't, let us know below. But also, we want to know your score predictions as well. Let us know what you think. Bournemouth fans, get them in there. Make sure they're positive. Tom, I'm going to turn to you. Ask you what you're feeling for this one. Is it going to be one where we grind it out?
Yeah.
Can we win convincingly? Or
yeah, I think that the international breaks probably help because I forgot about Villa now. We've gone on it. I think we'll win this. I think we've got to win this. I think we'll win this. I'm going to go 1-0.
Yep.
Dom Solanke. I think it's quite...
He's got to score soon, surely.
Yeah, and I think it'll be quite poetic in the sense that there's been a lot of talk. If Fulham fans, if you're watching this, when we played Villa, we had a really big moment at 1-0 down and Dom missed a one-on-one. So then obviously the talk all comes about his lack of goals, etc., etc. And then the next game's Fulham where he's got a brilliant record. And I just think this could be the game for him. So I'm going to go 1-0 Dom Solanke, mate.
What makes me feel good about this?
I mean,
2-0, mate. That's what 2-0.
You have to even on positive, you can't go further.
To score them both. Yeah, he's going to get a brace.
Hopefully we get kick-off.
You heard it here first. If you're not subscribed to this channel, we would appreciate it if you do, mate. We're so close to having more subscribers than capacity of our ground, mate.
Love that.
We've grown. We don't like to talk about numbers too much, but thank you so much for all your support over the last couple of months. It's been huge, fastest growing channel, and it's unbelievable.
Maybe that could be a little boost as well for the club. They go, hang on a minute, the podcast has got more seats. We'll have to expand. We need a big stadium. But no, really. Obviously, it might have something to do with a last-minute goal from Arsenal against us, and Arsenal fans come over.
We need a dedicated Arsenal section.
Yeah, we do. But no, really appreciate it. It's great, mate. Yeah, lovely. It's probably it has been the last few months, hasn't it? It's really soared. So yeah, we've had a little bit of a breathing out for the international break.
1.7 subscribers over the past 30 days.
1.7 thousand.
Yeah.
Well, I just think of 1.7. Yeah, no, very good. No, I love it. That's really good. So, thanks to everyone.
And Arsenal's more than a month ago now, I think. So,
yeah, it probably is. So nothing to do with it.
Who are they?
It must have been all the Liverpool fans loving us talking about Salah's missed penalty. But no, really appreciate it. And as I say, it's going to be loads of content thick and fast because we've got quite a few games coming up now, mate. Yeah,
quite a few games, and hopefully we can get points from them. If I mean, obviously with your optimistic hat on, you want 6 points from these next two, but you'd be happy and content with the minimum of what?
I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if you offered me 3, I may take it. I'd be tempted to take it, but I feel we're capable. And I want to say 4.
Yeah.
Going into that Leicester game, really, but it is very difficult because you beat Fulham and then you go, no, I wouldn't take 3 now because we've got another game.
And also, if I'd rather us do it this way around and get the result against Fulham, because then it
takes a bit of pressure off.
And it does, and also momentum as well. Whereas it turns Brighton into a pressure cooker of a game if we do not get a result against Fulham. So
it is difficult.
Inversely, maybe the pressure is on them for this game. I don't know, but either way,
I think minimum 3 is what we need to be looking at. And as I've said a few times in the video, I'm not saying Brighton a million miles better than Fulham at all. I think they're very close, but the timing of this game against Fulham, with you missing 2 key players. From a Bournemouth perspective, we're not going to have a better chance to beat you, and we have got a good record. So that's why we're looking at this one. We've got to win it, but we're not saying it's a game we should be winning. Very, very difficult game. I think because of how desperate we need the points, because they're missing a few players. I think a lot of people will be predicting this as a draw, actually. But we need to get it rocking in there, mate, and get another 3 points at home.
Thanks for watching. You know what, mate? I'm feeling really nervous. Should we go for a pint?
Oh, go on, man. Come on, fucking hell, I'm so glad International's done. Oh my God, we're going to beat Fulham.